of 119 serious injuries. Where do we went wrong? And as you respond to that, all these, where is the constitutional civil society? Where are the civil societies?
Well, civil society organizations have been very close to Kenyans at this time. If you note from as far back as March the 19th, during that first maandamano, many of us spoke about the importance of the police facilitating the protests that were called by Azimio. We also called about the right of citizens to march against the taxation bill. And marching is not a constitutional offense. It's not even a criminal offense. It is actually, sometimes it is an expression of active citizenship. So it needs to be facilitated and supported. Last year, across the world, there were 12,000 demonstrations in about 140 countries. We have seen very large demonstrations, sometimes even violent demonstrations in countries like the United States of America after their elections. We also saw the same happen in Brazil more recently at the beginning of this year. And the thing that I guess distinguishes both Brazil and the United States of America and Kenya is that in the other two examples, we saw upwards of 5,000, 6,000 people come into the streets of Brasilia and also in Washington, D.C. But we do not see the level of violence that we have seen in Kenya. It's now 2 weeks since a group of us from the Kenya Medical Association, the Law Society of Kenya, and Amnesty International Kenya traveled to Kisii and to Kisumu. And by interviewing a wide range of civil society, and when we say civil society, we do not mean NGOs, we mean anybody who is organized between the state and the family. So, doctors associations, lawyers associations, these are all civil society. Merry-go-rounds are civil society, community groups are civil society. We talked to many people, probably upwards of 50 to 100 people. And what we discovered there was just in the case of Kisumu and Kisii, there were at least 10 deaths that could be related to police violence. Many of them had been shot. Many of them had been bludgeoned or had been beaten with these big truncheons that the police officers carry. And some of them had been dragged out of their homes and essentially beaten to death. So I think we are still very concerned 2 weeks on that there's been nobody held accountable for this. And in fact, we have seen or we have heard the Inspector General go in the wrong direction by essentially arguing that these bodies were fabricated. Fortunately, this country is full of institutions and professionals, and we were very heartened to see the Association of Morticians speak out and say that as professionals, it is against their code of oath to fabricate bodies or to lend them to politicians or even to human rights organizations. So I think denying the undeniable will not help. What we need to see is commanding officers and officers on the ground held accountable, because if you do not do that, you open the door for future violence.